All right, this is part two of our LOViT pre-race meeting. This part is sponsored by Tailwind. If you don't know what that is, you're about to find out over the next 100 miles. And it's also sponsored by Run Stop and Trail Mix. That's your local sporting goods, shoe store, run store, all things ever needed on the trails and to keep you out there running. It's located in Hot Springs, therefore if you need something last minute, it's going to be about a 40-minute drive downtown Hot Springs on Bathhouse Row. If you're here early, go check them out. You're probably going to need something. With that, let's get started with what happens when we get started. 6 o'clock, Saturday morning. Everybody takes off at the same time. We're going to have a off-road vehicle lead you the first mile. That way everybody gets out onto our trail system. First mile is going to be rolling hills and it's going to be paved. So very little pavement at the beginning. We will be marking that section with pink duct tape. So you're going to know what to follow on the way out and you're going to follow the same thing on the way back. Also, when we get out there on the beginning of the dirt sections at mile 2, you're going to head up the very first time to Hickory Nut Mountain. I like to tell people that mile 3 is one of the worst sections of our entire course in my opinion. So do not believe mile 3. Number 1, it's uphill. Number 2, you will be in the dark. Number 3, it's fairly rocky. Number 4, if there is some moisture, you could run into a little bit of mud that's maybe a little sticky, maybe a little slippery, but it is probably the only section of that you're going to find on our entire course. We do have lots of rocks, but we have very little mud. So don't be fooled by mile 3. When you get up to the very top of the vista, it should be turning light. At that point, you're at our first aid station. It's typical aid stations that most of your runners have seen before. We've got all the standard fare plus a few extras. The real value I think of our aid stations is they are generally captained by someone with great experience in the ultra running community. So at the top of Vista is going to be one of the locations you're going to get to see 2 times if you're a 100K person and 3 times if you're a 100 miler. And from there, let's continue on down the trail. We're going to take you down a slight dirt road for 3/4 of a mile, and we are going to have somebody standing there to put you on the actual LOViT trail. That way nobody misses the turn. When you're on the LOViT trail system, which you will be for the majority of the rest of your trip through the race, the course is going to be marked with white blazes on the trees. So they've just repainted a whole bunch of them. We have a group called the Trail Dogs that take immaculate care of our trails. So we just did hit some ice here the last few days. There may be more branches and a possibility of trees down, but they are exceptionally good at cleaning these up. So don't expect to be doing much crawling over items on the trails because they are in very good shape. Our trails are rocky. They do grip pretty well. They hold up exceptionally well in weather. So most people find there is almost no mud to be found out on the course. We may have some leaf covered areas. So be careful if there's rocks and leaf covered areas. Just let the terrain tell you how fast you want to run at that time. You got a lot of miles to go and don't want to have anybody roll ankles on the few sections that are just a little extra rocky. From there, you travel down to FS 47 aid station. Everybody is all still together. We've got about 100 participants this year, 100K and 100 milers. You will be spreading out nicely at this point. Somewhere around probably mile 5, everybody's going to be on single track trail, but it'll be spread out well enough that we don't think it's going to be too bunched up out there. Once you leave FS 47, you're going to take a dirt road. There'll be a sign there that says stay on dirt road for 2 miles. Do not get on the little side trails. We will block them off. We're going to have some tape across them so you can't get on them, but just to let you know, it is completely normal for that section to run 2 miles on the dirt road to what we call Pipe Springs. Now, Pipe Springs is just simply what it sounds like. It's literally a pipe coming out of the side of the mountain that's got water flowing out of it. Also, what you're going to find there is a volunteer. That volunteer is going to direct our 100-mile runners to take a small 2.5 mile. I say small, nothing's small when you're doing extra mileage, but it's what it takes to get that 100 miles on our course. You're going to take a turn and you're going to go to the Charlton Trail Spur. You head out to a aid station called Charlton. You turn around and you come right back to Pipe Springs. Our 100K people, you do not do this the first time you pass it. You're going to hit the Charlton spur on your way back. So that's where we start to split the 100-mile and 100K runners up a little bit extra. 100K, you go directly to Crystal Springs. 100-milers, you go to Charlton. We'll have a person there standing there to tell you how to do that. When you get to Crystal, you're going to head out of there about a mile out of our Crystal Springs aid station. You're going to have your very first opportunity probably to get your feet wet. Any other little creeks you might see in the way are probably something you can step on a couple rocks and get over. Water levels are not high right now, nor are they expected to get any higher. So we're looking at creeks that are probably at most maybe a few inches up on your ankle, but nothing probably past that point. When you leave Crystal Springs, we've got 2 creeks in a row within a mile and a half that are potential for your feet to get wet. After that, you make the trek to what we call Bear Aid Station. When you get to Bear, it's our remote aid station. We have to shuttle everything in there. It takes a lot of planning, a lot of preparation, and a lot of work to get these supplies out to Bear. So it's going to be a little bit less of an aid station compared to some of the other ones. But every year we've added more, and we've got some great volunteers out there. So it's our little oasis in the longest stretch between Crystal and Brady. Leaving that, you got another chance to get your feet wet. Literally about 50 yards out of the Bear aid station is Bear Creek. So that one again is not going to be deep, but you're probably going to end up getting your feet wet at that one if you've managed to stay dry to up to that point. Some of our more talented runners can step across the rocks and still don't get their feet wet. You continue on a nice ridge along a mountain. Something very unique to our course. You're going to see signs that says beware of gun range. You're going to possibly hear guns. If you do, don't worry, you are on the side of a mountain. There is no chance of you having any gunfire actually coming by you. You're simply near a gun range, and they put warning signs so you don't climb up over the edge. Even if you did, you'd be very hard pressed to have any kind of gunfire in your area. So keep on the trails, ignore any noises you hear that sound like gunshots, and you're continuing on to Brady Mountain Aid Station. Brady Mountain Aid Station is a crew spot. You're going to be able to have your crew there. Failed to mention, I guess, that Crystal Springs and Charlton are also crew spots. So those are places that you can have your crew help you out. But since we're at Brady Mountain right now, let's continue on over to Spillway. This year, because Spillway is going to be on the east end of the course that you're going to hit first, we are going to have that be a minimal aid station this year. We're literally going to put out a table, we're going to put out some tailwind, and we're going to put out some water. So really that's just a little refill spot on your way over to the far end of the east side terminus of the LOViT trail system. We call that Avery Recreation Area. It's another crew spot. Actually a very good crew spot because it's got very nice parking. You go by the split of the dam between Lake Hamilton and Lake Washita. So if your crew gets to head out there, well, they'll get to see something they probably won't see in most races as they drive by our dam system. And they get to see you turn around. If you're a 100K runner, you're just a little less than halfway done at that point because on your way back, you'll hit that Charlton spur that you didn't hit on the way out. 100 milers just keep on moving. You're now heading back the way you came. How we're going to mark the trail this year is a little different than we've done in the past if you've been with us before. What we're going to have out on the course is we're going to have flags that look like this in the ground. We've run out of places to hang our red and white flags from the trees. The trail dogs have trimmed them back so far, kept it so clean for us. We are going to ground flags, pink with reflecting ribbon on them this year. There's another thing we're going to use out on the course. I've got one right behind me on the wall back there. You'll actually see that sign. It says uphill to 0.75 mile aid station. That is a directional sign. Please take any of the directional signs seriously. We bothered to put them out there. We'd like you to read them. Also, we have something that I like to call the yellow cone of shame. If you see the yellow cone of shame, that means you've gone the wrong way. So just past some of the turns that are possible for you to run past. Now keep in mind we have actually over 1,100 of these markers on 50 unique miles of course out there. We have 12 to 15 rolls of tape, and we are putting the yellow cones of shame. If you pass a turn, we will put these down far enough that you hopefully will never see them until you're about a tenth of a mile past that turn. So that tells you if you see the yellow cones, you've gone the wrong way, turn around about a tenth of a mile, backtrack. And that should put you right back on the trail. We'll put reflectors on these little pieces of tape on the top of them. Therefore, you'll know how to turn around, how to see them, how to get back to where you were going. I'll explain this again on race morning. All right, since we're now on our way back, what we're going to do is we're going to put our flags on your right side on your treks away from the start finish line. And as you're traveling back towards the start finish line after you turn around at Avery, you're going to see these flags automatically on your left side now because you are just repeating the part of the course you just did on the east end of the race course. Everybody makes their way back to Charlton on the second time or inbound way towards the finish line for the 100K people. You are now going to have to go out to Charlton this year. In past years, you didn't. The race always measured just a little bit short, and we don't want to cheat you of any mileage. We want to make sure that those Garmin's all read 100K or more when you're done. So plan on being around 62.5 miles. That's a good guesstimate of what you're going to end up running on your watch. All right, as you make your way now, repeating what you did on the way out, you travel back up to the top of Hickory Nut Vista. Everybody's going back up to the Vista. You're going to check in there. If you're a 100-mile runner, and we're going to send you right back down the dirt road to the west end of the course. That's going to take you to Joplin, Tompkins Bend, ADA. Then you'll hit Tompkins, Joplin, the Vista, and make your way to the finish. If you are a 100K runner, the second time when you reach Hickory Nut Vista, you simply have about 4.1 miles right back down the mountain, back down the dirt road, back down the paved road. Everybody remember the last mile in your race will be paved. It's still got some hills to go, but it's going to feel good on your feet just to not have to worry about tripping over rocks or any other debris. You can just finish strong, heading back into the East Coast Pavilion, where you enter the pavilion to hit the finish line. At that point, you're going to get your finishing award, be it a buckle for the 100-miler or a medal for the 100K. And you're going to get what you really come to achieve. A finish, a incredibly beautiful race with some awesome volunteers, some even better runners, and some people that are going to be thrilled to come watch you finish that epic journey you started. So if anybody's got any questions, I will be available at the start finish line at check-in for the majority of the time if I'm not out on the course fixing some last minute issues. B. Mickelson, our race director, obviously another great choice to talk to, or find any of our LOViT race committee members. We've got Charity Shaw, we've got Steve Campbell, who will be joining you on this year's race. He will be our running of the official 100-mile race course official. So how many races put a guy out there to run with you? But that's what Steve Campbell is doing this year. And then our Santa Claus, RV Santa Claus out on the race, the guy that makes everything happen, Tony Malusian, he's going to be dropping all the aid station supplies and fixing anything out on the course that might possibly occur. Last thing I want to tell you about, sorry this one's running a little bit long, but this is going to be something you need to know about if you have crew. We have a tracking system. Our tracking system is run by the people at the aid stations. When you come in, they're going to take your number. They're going to text your number to our tracking system. Our tracking system is mostly automated, so it will do a very good job of checking you in. It was predictive to some extent. It was designed by Dustin Spear. He was our former race director for the last, I believe, 9-10 years here at LOViT. B's taken over this year. But anyway, on the tracking system is going to keep you safe first and foremost. That is the purpose of it. Now, we're also going to share this online. It's on our homepage. I'll move it to the very top before we start the race. That way everybody will have ease of access to getting to it at www.runlovit.com. And what you can do is you can enter in a participant's name or number, and it will end up allowing you to follow and track them and even receive notifications when they check in at aid stations. Keep in mind, this is not live tracking. You will be able to see an estimated position of your runner based on a bunch of factors that are far too complicated for me to explain because I'm not as smart as the guy that invented it. But he's done an awesome job of creating a tracking system. And it's pretty foolproof, except we rely on volunteers um, that are at aid stations that could possibly make a mistake. So sometimes that occurs. Sometimes the biggest problem we have is we lose cell phone signal out on the course. So because of that, the tracking system is not infallible. So don't get too terribly concerned if you see that your runner is off track, not really off course, but if they're not arriving at the times you exactly thought there could have been some glitches in the system that we know about, we are tracking, but it's very difficult to keep 100% of the tracking system updated 100% of the time. So please know we do our best. I will be sharing my personal phone number. That way, if anybody's got any major concerns, they can please text me because I will be so busy tracking people during the race and helping out where I can in doing other events, other jobs that it's going to be hard for me to answer the phone. But please text me if you have any major concerns that need to be brought to my attention. I am one of the race officials. So we will do our best to keep everybody on course and safe. I'm sure I have more to add, and sure you have more questions. So please stop by at Race Check-in. Ask anything we can help you with, and we'll see you on the course Saturday morning, 6 a.m. Everybody starts, everybody finishes.